Hey y'all, it's your captain for all things creative coming at you with some Real Housewives of New Jersey tea, as well as the season 14 episode 5 review. If you are new to this channel, welcome. Please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you're returning, let's get into all the mess. First of all, unless you've been living under a rock or you don't really care about housewives that much, it has been leaked online, and he was even in the Sun, that the Real Housewives of New Jersey reunion is canceled. And according to Reddit, there's 2 housewives that have been asked to leave. So this is following the pattern of Real Housewives of New York, who was the only other cast to have the reunion cancel. And then shortly after, the whole show was reboot with an all new group. There are a couple of shows that have been rebooted already, including Real Housewives of Miami and Real Housewives of Atlanta, and of course, like I said, Real Housewives of New York. Real Housewives of New York, whose reunion was canceled, had everybody fired or put on pause, as Dorinda would like to say, before they reboot the entire thing and got an entirely new cast, whereas Miami and Atlanta kept a few OGs but hired more than half of new peach holders and I guess housewives. When it comes to New Jersey, Reddit is saying that 2 housewives have been asked to leave. My guess is Teresa and Melissa, even though I don't want that to happen. But like what happened with RHONJ, Sonia and Luann got a spinoff, so I'm hoping that Teresa will get her spinoff. If it wasn't Teresa, my other guess is that it's Jennifer Aydin and maybe Melissa, just because Jennifer Aydin has been in trouble with, leaking screeners to the blog, and then Melissa's boring. And if I had to choose between Melissa and Teresa, I'm sorry, I would choose Melissa to go. But we don't know what they're going to do, but we know, like we predicted, that this is going to be the last season where we see this cast and the Gorga Judas drama for sure. So let's get into this episode, because again, it's the end of an era, and let's see if we can find clues to see who Bravo was favoring. So the episode starts off with a montage of Teresa and her kids missing Gabriella because the counters are dirty and she's like the responsible one in the house that be cleaning up the messes, but they blame the boys up for it eventually. Then you see Marge giving her dog medicine. And then the next actual scene is Dolores and Frank meeting with their kids to have a family dinner. And basically tell everybody that Frank is going to get engaged. And they do this whole practice proposal where Frank asks Dolores, to marry him in front of the restaurant. And everybody claps. But then they have to explain that they're divorced and just acting up. Next scene is a mother-son day with Fuda and her son, Melissa and her son, and Danielle and her son. And they start off by all driving around together, but then the boys go split off to play, and then the women just start talking about their different problems. Danielle talks about not talking to her dad and crying because she thinks her dad always takes her brother's side. And then the other women rightfully tell her, stop making an issue with your dad when y'all don't have a lot of time left together. He's an elderly man, and you're going to regret it, when he transitions. Because everybody, will pass on to glory. And so everybody needs to make the most of their time on earth with the people they love. And then Melissa going to try to bring up how she told her kids to say hi to Teresa. So again, she got Teresa to even her mouth, even though she said she wasn't going to. But that's neither here nor there. And then Danielle also invites everyone to their brunch. And then Melissa said she's going to make things right with Jennifer Aydin before the brunch, because basically she don't have enough tickets for Fashion Week. They're limited, and she's, I think, only taking Melissa to the fashion show. But she's going to make a brunch for all the other ladies to celebrate her having a fashion show. And everybody's invited. All right, next scene is Teresa and Jen set up for a facial at Bill's place, which is spliced with Marge and her people. sitting around at the house because her mom just had surgery and is recovering at her house. And so Marge tells her mom and Joe about Jackie, kind of turning coat at the baseball game. And then Teresa and Jen and Aiden call Jackie to ask how she's doing, and Jackie basically says she's ready to move away from Marge and just waiting for her chance to, kind of join their clique fully. And Marge is not making her happy. And then Jackie says in her confessional that she is hip to the game. She knows what Jen and Teresa are up to by calling her and being real nice to her, but she said it does feel good still to have them check on her and care about how she feels, because she does resent Marge, So then Teresa, after they hung up on Jackie, follows Jackie on social media. And the scene ends with Jen saying it's nice when everybody gets along. Next, you see Teresa visiting Danielle with tequila, and then they drink as Danielle talks about Fashion Week. Before Teresa says that Danielle's clothes are basic base, which causes Danielle to fall out, but she explains that that's not shade, since shops always stock up on basics, so it's a bread and butter industry. Hold on. Yeah, there's a little bubble machine incident. So yeah, Teresa says the clothes are basic, but it's no shade because basics is a fashion term that Danielle would know if she's heavy into fashion, like she says. Danielle then says that she was told that Jen Aiden was making fun of her and set her up, which Bravo then shows flashbacks of Jen, doing an impersonation and then rehashing the Melissa cheating rumor situation. And then Teresa basically advises Danielle to talk things out with Jen, since Jen isn't malicious. And she also says that, she didn't have to repeat the rumor, which is very true. And to be honest, Jen is low-key setting Danielle up with the hairdresser, though. Next, we see Jen and Melissa meeting because they're trying to squash their differences before, Danielle's brunch. But then Melissa is kind of coming in hot. I felt like, they were supposed to reconcile their differences, but Jen is the one mostly apologizing, basically explaining that the main reason why she talked about the rumor was to show how much of a gossip Marge was, since the story apparently came from Marge. But Melissa said that Jen needs to stay out of her family business and especially stop sneak dissing and attacking Joe Gorga while she's at it, since it seemed to her like Jen has a hard-on for her husband. Before Jen, Aiden claps back and says she doesn't care about Joe, so if anything, she got a limp noodle for, Joe Gorga. But she maintains that Joe is still an a-hole in her opinion, which then prompts Melissa and her to get to arguing about who was being more rude to who, since Jen then brings up her and her husband ignoring them at the last two events, which Melissa says happened because she was with Teresa and they were keeping their distance from Teresa, not necessarily avoiding Jen. And then Melissa apologizes for Joe's olive branch going to her husband and not to her at that birthday party event. And then Jen apologizes for telling Danielle the cheating rumors, even though it was to set up Marge, because she says that she can be friends with Trey but also move on with Melissa, but she admits that it's going to take time for her to even consider being friends with Joe, because her and Melissa got to make things right with each other first. So then Jen and Melissa talk about Danielle's brunch before Jen does another Danielle impersonation, but insists it's not her being shady but just dramatic for fun. This is the last part of the episode where everything else goes down. It's Danielle's brunch. So everybody's here, I believe, except Marge. And Dolores tells everyone about Frank Frake proposing, keeping everything light. But then they start to press Dolores about Paulie not proposing, and she, gives the same old excuses. But everybody knows she would love to be married, but, she is waiting on Paulie, but she might not, wait much longer. Danielle then brings up what Marge had told her from what she got from Fessler about the hairdresser woman talking about her. Dolores then tries to explain what the hairdresser was saying in a neutral way, but Danielle then asked why Teresa and the rest of them girls allowed that lady to talk about her if they were her friends. And Teresa said she didn't say anything, so she didn't know what she and the hairdresser had going on, so it wasn't her place to invalidate that lady's story. And I agree, so Danielle should just keep the smoke to Jen for bringing the girl, to the event to talk about her, and also tell her side of the story and maybe clear it up with the hairdresser. Then Jen explains that her impersonation was not to mock Danielle, and then she brings up that she personally didn't like the incident in the baseball game locker room when Danielle made the comment about her not telling things to Danielle as a recurring theme. Jen then explains that she didn't tell Danielle all the details since part of the story involved Louis talking to Joe one-on-one about the cheating rumor. So that was Teresa, Louis, and Joe Gorga's business, and she's too loyal to go into their details like that. Then Danielle asks outright if Jen set her up, to which Jen said no. And then Teresa jumps in and says that Jen already explained everything, and it's about her family, so she doesn't want to hear about that story anymore. Before we see a confession of Teresa saying that if anything, Marge set them all up because Marge was the one where the Melissa cheating rumor came from. And honestly, Danielle should see the writing on the wall because she was there when everything happened. She's not a mindless puppet, and she repeated the story of her own will. So it's silly for her to be sitting there acting like some victim. And Melissa is making a lot of faces but not saying anything since she don't want to talk to Teresa. But in her confessional, she says it's clear to her that Teresa says it's clear that Danielle's getting the ideas from Melissa and Marge. Then they all move on to congratulate Jackie on her book, and someone asks if they can hear about what exactly went down between Marge and Jackie, and I think it was Jen Aiden Messy Self that asked the question. And then Teresa says to Jackie loud so everyone hears her that Marge don't really care about her. And when Melissa decides to jump in here, but she doesn't talk to Teresa directly, she turns to Jackie and half whispers her that Jackie's smarter than that, to kind of try to convince Jackie not to break formation by running down on Marge in front of everybody. And then Jackie makes a public service announcement that she's not on nobody's side no more, and she's gonna be friends with whoever she want to be friends with, and she don't care about what anyone has to say about it. And she nods proudly like a mama bird, helping a baby bird out her nest or out the snake pit that she was formerly in. And she's like, yes, that's the way you should be. And then Danielle asks Fuda then if she and Teresa have talked yet. Big mistake. And Teresa says she don't want to be the center of attention like everybody want her to be. But she will say that she never said that Fuda was a present-day drug dealer, which is what Fester had made out to be Fuda's concern. But Fester told her wrong because Fuda just wants to smoke with Teresa no matter what. Even though, again, it's his ex-girlfriend that started everything because Fuda started with them over the adoption story, saying that the lady was a deadbeat. So the lady spoke out, and the son confirmed that it was them that reached out to later the lady that, had dealings with them without Teresa's involvement, right? So then, Bravo also shows receipts saying that Teresa said that Fuda was a street pharmacist or drug dealer in the past tense. And then Fuda says that Teresa's intention is slanderous. And Teresa says that Fuda's ex put it out there. Then Fuda says that Teresa's husband has more exes putting stuff out there than her husband's exes, so they shouldn't bring up exes. Then they got to yelling, and then somehow Fuda says that Tree needs to answer the question. And Tree says, what question? And I was also like, yeah, what's the question? Because they were annoying. And then Fuda asked, what was your intention in bringing up the, drug dealer rumor? And Tree said that she just was repeating what rumor was out there, and she didn't know what was true or not, or what John Fuda had going on. So then Rachel Fuda asked Teresa why didn't she ask John Fuda directly if he was a drug dealer or not. And then Tree asked Rachel, well, is he a parking attendant now? And that was shade. And Fuda catches the shade. She says that, yes, he's a parking attendant who only makes $5. So then Tree returns servant says that, oh, well, maybe a drug dealer would be a better hustle for Jay Fuda than that parking attendant job. Which gags everybody, including Melissa, who wants to pretend that she don't see or hear Teresa, but even her jaw drops to the floor at that moment. So then Fuda starts fake laughing before trying to run down on Teresa with recycle read from her husband. She says that her husband has built a life for himself and his family, and asked Teresa what she has done while calling her a stupid B word. And I felt my needy coming out, like, you better watch those B words, because again, what Teresa has done is brought you this platform that you can be on, so stop acting like, you don't know that this is not the house that Teresa helped build. So then she tries, to also forget that Teresa had her whole cookbook empire and all this stuff. And she forgets her husband was actually selling drugs too. So I don't understand what the beef with Teresa is when she's telling the truth and the person who spread it was the ex-girlfriend, but whatever. So then Fuda continues to try to bash Teresa by saying that she went to prison as a grown woman. And then Danielle got her hands clasped in a prayer pose, probably thanking God that she didn't invite none of them ladies to the Fashion Week event for real. And then Jen is also gagged next to Danielle and tries to interrupt by saying what Fuda is saying isn't necessary. So then Teresa turns to Jen and says that Fuda is doing this because she's stupid and young, and basically she don't want to go back and forth with her no more. And then Danielle again used a recycle read saying that Teresa is a has-been. And then Teresa calls her immature. And then Fuda tries to call Teresa a bully and starts bringing up other people to try to get them in her side by saying that Teresa picked on Jackie's marriage. And then Melissa all of a sudden wants to pipe up again, even though she said she would ignore Teresa, by telling Jackie that Teresa did pick on Jackie's marriage and that it hurt her, so she would never let her deny what Teresa did concerning the marriage. And then Jackie stops Melissa right there in her tracks and tells her straight out that she sees exactly what Melissa's doing, and that she needs to stop it because she's speaking on things that she does not know about. She's proud of Jackie for clocking Melissa's tea and holding Melissa to her promise that she wasn't going to speak on Teresa because she couldn't resist. If it's not about Teresa, she don't got nothing to say. And then Melissa again tried to make a moment with Jackie and act like she cares so much about Jackie's feeling by telling Jackie that she knows that she is right. And then Jackie continued to hold her ground and asked Melissa, why does she feel the need to convince Jackie that right now, after all these years later, that she needs to feel mad about Teresa, doing whatever she did or saying whatever she did when they all have moved on. And it's true, because everybody moved on except for Melissa. Melissa wants everybody else to have her beef. And that gagged Melissa. And then Danielle yells out that Jackie and Teresa's friendship is comical before Jackie stands her ground again. And then Teresa makes her exit, saying her kids had a volleyball game. And the scene basically ends when Teresa leaves. And then Melissa in her confessional makes a comment about Teresa leaving, even though, again, she said she wouldn't speak on Teresa. Then Dolores wisely warns Rachel Fuda that she thought she might have ate whatever war with Teresa just then, but she got to keep her guard up because Teresa's going to get her lick back in the upcoming days. And then Fuda says that Teresa's incompetent and emotionally stupid before Jen Aiden says that no, Teresa may not be the best at fully articulating her thoughts. And then Jackie seems to either be upset at Jen or Rachel, because both of them kind of ran down on Teresa after she left. And then Jackie says that she's going to keep her mouth closed, especially, if she was being a friend to Teresa. And again, I was proud of Jackie because they're all whack. And that warning stands. So that's the end of the episode. Bye.